We've been on a fantasy RV tour tracing the Mississippi River for 5 weeks now, tracing it from its origins in northern Minnesota all the way down through 9 states to the Gulf. This week we visit 2 river towns. The first is Vicksburg, Mississippi.
Like many of the towns located on the river, they have made the flood walls covered with murals that tell of the history of their city. And this is no exception in Vicksburg.
Check this out. Every town marks the worst flood ever. It's always what you worry about when you're built on a river like this. This is Vicksburg. 1932, water went from up to there. There's different years there, but the standard is right there. 1927, 62.2, the most devastating flood in the Mississippi's history.
Just outside of town is a place that is hallowed ground for Vicksburg, the rolling green hills that were the site for one of the Civil War's most critical and cruel chapters, the 47-day Union siege of Vicksburg that literally starved a town into surrender and ended the lives of so many soldiers.
More than 10,000 died from the Union side, 9,000 from the Confederate Army. Most of their graves unmarked on both sides, thousands and thousands of them with no names, no hometowns. Their families never even knew exactly where they were buried or got to say a proper goodbye. They just never returned home. Besides the cannon, besides the infantry and the vicious ground fighting, the Union sent ironclad gunboats to the Mississippi River to bombard the city, to weaken the defensive lines of the Confederates. In 1861, one of the gunboats, the USS Cairo, sunk 102 years later. In the 1960s, during high water, the boat was raised and recovered, and it's now a museum here at Vicksburg. These iron plates are 2.5 inches thick, but behind that, oak planks ranging up to 2 feet thick. So when they took a major hit, even if it was close on, it could maybe shatter some of that iron, but all that oak planking behind would keep it from penetrating the rest of the ship. So how did they sink that? Mines. The Confederates had put mines in the Yazoo River, which flows right here into the Mississippi. And as this boat was going by, they hit the mine. And the most vulnerable part, of course, was under the waterline. And that's how the Cairo came to sink in the Yazoo River, right near the Mississippi, and lay undiscovered for over a century. And by the way, no lives were lost. The crew was all rescued.
4 inches. Stop.
Well, good day, everybody. We are now on our way to Natchez after a stay at Vicksburg. And one of the nice things about heading to Natchez is riding the Natchez Trace. This is just such a beautiful place to drive. We just thought we'd share it with you.
It is a great opportunity to slow down and have beautiful surroundings, not have big trucks, and just to enjoy driving.
No commercial vehicles are allowed on the Natchez Trace Parkway, and the speed limit is 55 miles an hour. Many places 50, and lots of places to pull over and learn the history. It's a great RV trip. There are places you can pull over in your RV that are big rig friendly, and so many things to see, such history along this road. Natchez was probably the most important city on the Mississippi during the early 1800s. This was, of course, the center for commerce. It was the center for the cotton trade, and it was the center for slavery.
Today in Natchez, more than 500 restored and preserved pre-Civil War mansions stand as evidence of the enormous wealth generated by the plantation economy and slave trade. Our fantasy RV tour spent several days along the river here. We stayed just across the bridge in Vidalia, Louisiana, at the Riverview Campground. Our campsites all had river views, and we walked the levee, watched the barge traffic, and just relaxed, taking in all we have seen on this tour.
But there is one more destination before the 34-day tour comes to an end, and that's New Orleans and the swamplands to the south, where the river just vanishes into the Gulf. We'll have that in our final report.